It's Tuesday, and of course we go into our second conversation this morning. We did tell you earlier on that we'll be talking about menstrual hygiene. Of course, today is World Menstrual Hygiene Day. It takes place every 28th of May of every year, and we have joining us two people. Let me start with the young lady. They say ladies first. Aisha Mu'Azu is joining us. She is the Global Adolescent Girl Leader of UNICEF Nigeria. Aisha, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. It's an honor to be here.
All right. We also have joining us the Head of Gender Unit of the United Nations Fund for Population Activity, UNFPA, Babatunde Adelekan. Good to see you.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. Maybe I should start with Aisha. Really, it's the Girls' Day, they say, Menstrual Hygiene Day. So tell us, what does this day mean to you as a young girl?
Hey, so Menstrual Hygiene Day to me as an adolescent girl means a day for female like me to celebrate, a day to appreciate being born as a female, a day to reduce the stigmatization that comes with menstruation, a day to help other girls around the world, a day to create awareness for those girls that do not know much about menstruation, because a lot of girls out there, they lack education when it comes to menstruation. And it's a day to reach out to NGOs and other organizations to help those girls that are facing stigmatization so that they could overcome them and then they could help them.
Thank you very much.
All right, Babatunde, it's a day celebrated all across the world, and one thing that I talk about when we discuss these issues off camera is that menstruation is something that a woman doesn't have control over. It is what actually designates her, authenticates the fact that she is a female. So, how important is it for people to understand that stigma should not feature when discussions about menstrual hygiene come up anywhere in the world?
A very, very good question. For me, stigma is a taboo, and we should all, work towards ensuring that it doesn't happen. Just like what you said, menstruation is a natural phenomenon, and it occurs in what we call a life cycle approach for all girls and women, from when you're a young person as a child through adolescence to when you're in the reproductive age, and even beyond that. So when stigma, discrimination occurs, it actually, works against the fundamental human rights of women, because it's a normal thing that happens. And when you stigmatize a woman or a girl, then she doesn't have the capacity for her to be able to, go through this menstruation with dignity and respect. In fact, I can tell you, sometimes when people become stigmatized, they are bullied. For instance, the adolescent girl, she's not able to attend school, so she's absent from school. Then that means she's not able to, fulfill her educational attainments. If they are stigmatized because of social, cultural, and religious social norms, then, they make them lose their dignity. A lot of women, because of that, cannot even, fulfill their potential. So this is a very, very important thing. And, addressing menstruation within the framework of human rights, is very, very fundamental, because it addresses issues like dignity, it addresses issues like health, it addresses issues like woman equality. And if we do not, address and stop this stigmatization, then a lot of women will not be able to fulfill the opportunities and live a life with dignity and respect.
Okay, because you talked about the human rights aspect of this and addressing it within the framework of human rights, let's draw the critical connections between, menstruation and human rights, and how do these impact on individuals and communities?
Yes, so just like what I said, for me, the intersection between menstruation and human rights is so profound, and it's because of the impact that this has to individuals and to communities. For instance, the right to education. an adolescent girl who doesn't have the necessary facilities, a safe environment for her to be able, to perform a normal cyclical duties that occurs every month, might not be able to come to school. She's absent from school. Sometimes she doesn't have the wherewithal for her to be able to, interact. Social inclusion within that school. So that has affected her right to education. Sometimes people who have menstruation have what we call premenstrual challenges. They have mood swings, they're anxious. So,
and then cramps.
Yes, cramps and all those kind of things. Now, if this issue about gender equality and equity, about mainstreaming the issues of menstruation within the ambit of us as an individual, if that is not addressed, most times they already have premenstrual issues. The taboo, the fear and embarrassment then does not make them have that confidence for them to be able, to navigate through this issue. And a lot of them come with a lot of issues. They are not able to work. For instance, the woman, if there are no adequate facilities where they are working, and because of that, it limits the economic empowerment. The right to dignity, non-discrimination, just like what we're talking about. It is important that women are not seen as second-class citizens or adolescent girls as second class because they are menstruating. They must not be discriminated against. We must have the right policies, inclusive policies in the school environment where people work, in the general public, where all the facilities that are necessary for adolescent girls and women to be able to have what we call clean and safe and respectful ways for them to be able to manage menstruation with dignity and respect is enhanced.
I see Aisha nodding her head in agreement. When I was growing up, issues surrounding menstruation were shrouded in secrecy. All the females around me, my sisters, you will never get to know when they were having their periods, and it was considered an embarrassment if, for instance, a young lady, maybe an adolescent girl, or even a grown woman goes out and she has a blood stain on her dress. It's considered something of an embarrassment at that time. What's it like today? You're a young lady just coming up, but what's it like? Is it still shrouded in secrecy like that?
Well, thank you for that very amazing question. To me, I actually believe that creation of awareness helps a lot. Awareness have been created to a lot of young ladies out there, so they know that menstruation is not something that they should feel ashamed of. They know that menstruation is a part of them, is a part of who they are, and they cannot just evade it. While some girls out there, is in their nature to be very shy, so when they're on their period, they're usually always hiding it from their mothers, from their mentors, from their friends. They feel so stigmatized that, okay, what if I talk about it? Will I be ashamed of it? Will they tell me things like, oh, you're on your period, you're growing old? Well, for some females, like I said, awareness has been created, so it's really helpful. Females are getting bold these days. They're getting the courage to stand up and be like, oh, I'm on my period. It's okay. It's a natural phenomenon. So why should I be ashamed of it? While this stigmatization is actually too much out there, it depends on the kind of environment the female lives in. For example, some girls in public school might not be living with their parents. They might be house helps. So when they're on their period, they don't have the courage to start going to ask for pads and for other sanitary products. They have the courage to feel like, okay, I'm not living with my parents, I don't have the confidence to go and face them. While in other households, even if she is, but we have to realize that every girl has it, so they eventually to afford it. So they eventually end up using rags, and those rags could infect them a lot. The girl will start feeling uncomfortable, she'll start having infections. So poverty really affects menstruation. Although in a lot of public schools, we have NGOs coming to our schools and they are sharing menstrual pads for free. They come once in a while, which helps a lot of girls. And they're like, oh, I have a pad. Oh, look, I have a pad. And a lot of my friends, we take pictures. We're like, look, the Benson's family, they came to our school. They shared pads for us. We really appreciate. And because some girls, they just don't have the money to afford it. But it's something that must happen in every girl's life. Now, imagine the rural areas where schools are scarce there. And the girl is on her period, and water is also scarce. She doesn't have water, she doesn't have pad, she ends up using rag, and she ends up getting infected. So poverty really affects menstruation. But I would encourage the work of NGOs, because they keep on sharing free pads. they keep on creating awareness, and creating awareness really helps for the girls.
That's NGOs. Can government come in this regard?
Well, yes, I would say they also come in, because I clearly remember when I was in my junior school, when I wasn't on my period that time, and I see a lot of girls, they talk about their period, and I really didn't know anything about menstruation. So I'm like, what is this menstruation about? So the first NGO that came to our school, they were talking about it, still the Benson's family. They were informing us, okay, this is what happens when a girl is on her period. She starts feeling nauseated sometimes, she gets cramps, her abdomen is paining her, she feels headache. These are all signs when your period is about to come. And then I was like, wow, so this is what this period is it really that scary? And then they were like, but for some girls, they don't even feel the cramps. It depends on the type of girl. Some girls only have mood swings, while some girls, their own issues to period is different. Some girls don't have anything at all, like me. I'm very lucky.
You're really lucky indeed, because I've seen situations where some women get hospitalized when they're having their period. So let me come back to you, Dr. Adelekan. This period poverty issue that Aisha has, I love the way she has expounded the issue. And what was going on in my head as she spoke was the fact that we have agencies that give out free condoms. Now, sexual activity is by choice. Menstruation, you don't have a choice over it. It is natural. It happens. Exactly. Is there a framework that your agency has to support young girls and women at times like this? Maybe, like she said, NGOs giving out free hygiene, sanitary wear rather.
For us at UNFPA, we believe that it is important for us to harness the potentials of adolescent girls and young people to fulfill their dreams and their ambitions. And this is within, the background of sexual reproductive health and all these kind of things that she faces. So at UNFPA, what we've done is work with the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs and other critical stakeholders for us to develop legal framework, a strategic framework for us to be able to address some of these issues that Aisha has mentioned. And because of that, what we have done is go through a lot of processes to engage and advocate at strategic level for us to be able to address that. How do we do that? We are advocating for what I call subsidy of menstrual products. Just like what she said, is about it being available in the rural areas, distant places, marginalized communities, they don't even have access to them. Then even for those who have access, just like what she said now, the cost of disposable menstrual product is very, very expensive now. So what we're advocating is that for it to be subsidized as much as possible, it should be menstruation or menstrual pads banks should be available everywhere in schools, in public places, and private NGOs. Individuals can sponsor that, because this is at the heart of the dignity of every girl and every woman. Beyond that, there should be inclusive policies where this becomes part of the norm for you to ensure that in public places, in parks, and all those kind of things, there's the right water and sanitation facilities for us to be able to address these issues. Beyond that, we are also trying to empower young girls and women groups by teaching them, building their skills to be able to do what we call reusable menstrual pads. So as they do that, they become economically empowered, and they're able to address, the issues about menstruation, and then have peer-to-peer education between themselves. Because just like what she said, poverty also has a direct nexus with education. So if the adolescent girl or the girl child does not have the necessary education, then myths and all these kind of things, yes, they drive misinformation. And when they drive misinformation, then that is counterproductive to what she needs to know for her to be able to address menstruation issues. So we are working with partners, critical stakeholders, for us to be able to address some of these issues within the ambit of the National Strategic Framework for Menstrual Health and Hygiene Management.
The worry for many with reusable parts is, like Aisha said earlier, water is an issue,
Yes.
sanitation is an issue in some schools,
Yes.
and then you want to use reusable pads. How do you deal with that in the absence of water? Because all these are interconnected.
Yes, that's why I'm saying for us to address menstrual issues is a multi-sectoral issue. It must be seen across all the different, we are talking about Ministry of Health, Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Water Resources, Ministry of, everybody must come together. It's a crisis that we really must address, because if we do not address this, and you know, the woman, the ability for the woman, for the girl child to transit from adolescent to adulthood without any issues, it becomes a very, very serious issue. And like I said, it's a life cycle approach. The issue about menstruation affects every girl and every woman from when she's young till when they stop menstruation. So, and there are symptoms, challenges and needs that arises through this.
Yes.
So it is something that we really must do. And of course, we are seeing a lot of issues coming up now. Girls now start menstruation earlier than before. The girls now are more educated. So the period between when they start menstruation
is not longer than it used to be.
Yes, so we must also ensure that we give them comprehensive menstrual education. They need to know, even from adolescents. And that is what we do with all critical stakeholders. We train parents, we train the teachers. We ensure that these children and these adolescents, as they navigate through adulthood, they're able to understand their system, become comfortable with their system, have what we call bodily, you know, dignity and integrity, so that they can have the autonomy and self-efficacy to determine what they want to do at the right time and fulfill their dreams.
Okay, let's come to Aisha now. We've been talking about the girl child all of this while with regard to menstrual health, but how do you think we can effectively engage the boys and the men in the conversation around menstrual health, around menstrual hygiene, and how to ensure that there's equity and there's, how do I put it, that everybody understands the dynamics of providing a safe space and the right things to address the period poverty?
Okay, thank you for that question. Before I proceed, I would need the audience and everybody out there to understand that there is a difference between equality and equity. Equality is like providing, let's say your child, you have a girl and a boy, and you want to buy for them maybe a sandals or a shoe. So you buy for the boy a cover shoe and you buy for the girl a cover shoe. That's equality. When it comes to equity, let's say your girl has fashion taste and she loves things like modeling, she loves watching entertainment, industries and stuff. So she's interested in all these heels and stuff. So obviously, you buy for her a heel while you buy for him a cover shoe. That is equity. It is providing for them both what they need, not what they want. You provide for this girl what she needs, you provide for this boy what he needs. So when it comes to needs of the girl child, you see in schools, when they are creating toilets or when they are building toilets, the boys' toilets, the structure of the boys' toilets will be exactly the same as the structure of the girls' toilets, which is very wrong, because we're trying to create equity here, not equality. In the girls' toilet, at least when you enter, you should see the difference with sanitary products, with menstrual hygiene pads. You should see things like tampons, and you should see so many other menstrual products there that when a girl is on her period, she doesn't even have to start running up and down. Please, who has pad? Please, who can lend me a pad? Please, who can lend me a pad? She could simply just go into the toilet and like, we have pad in our school. And she will just get one, use it, clean herself with healthy water and wash it. So you see, the problem here is that the boys, when it comes to all these menstruation talks, they are always trying to hide. It's not even just them. Whenever we're having gender assemblies in most schools, you will hear them saying that, okay, the daddies and the boys should please excuse the females so that they will be able to talk comfortably. But that's one mistake that we are doing. We don't know that as pushing them away, what we're doing is we're trying to keep them away from the knowledge of menstruation. And then they literally end up not knowing anything about it. So why don't we try including the boys and the men more? And I'm not just saying you come and drag them and be like, oh, come, they are talking about menstruation. Some boys are actually shy. They will not be able to talk about it freely. So you approach them, you'll be like, oh, your sister, your mother, your aunt, your cousin, all the females in your family, there's something they pass through. once a month is called menstruation. So why don't you come? Let's discuss this with you. Don't you want to know what happens to the female system, so that if there's any way you could help your siblings, if there's any way you could help your mother at home, why don't you come? Let's educate you about this. And the boys will be like, once a month? I want to know about this. So they come and they're like, oh wow, so when my mom is on her period, she's going to be feeling cramps and pain. Maybe I could help her with house chores. Maybe I could help my sister by massaging her feet, or other simple activities. So it's very important that we start including the boys. When we are having programs, we shouldn't just be like, no, it's about females. That's a very bad decision, because as you are pushing the males away, you are leaving them out of the whole discussion. So why don't you just come to them and you're like, why don't you come join us? Let's talk to you about menstruation. There's something that happens to the female system about once a month. Isn't that interesting? And the boys will be like, yes, I want to learn about it. And again, last year we went for a program with UNICEF, and they invited male students from a lot of schools. So they gave them t-shirts to wear, which said something about period. It was like, my period, my rights and stuff. So when we went back to school, the men were wearing it, and a lot of boys were like, what are you doing with this kind of t-shirts? Are you a girl? Are you a female? And I was like, no, that's wrong. You should also be wearing the t-shirts. You don't know that they are representing females, and that's something to be proud of. Thank you.
He for she.
Yeah, really, it's something to be proud of, especially because at the end of the day, these boys will get married.
Exactly.
They'll have wives. They'll have sisters, like you talked about. They'll have siblings who are maybe going through this and they may not even understand. So let's look at, one thing is to provide pads and water and sanitation. Another thing is how the girls deal with some of the issues, that come with periods. Like she said, she's lucky. She doesn't have any. But there are people that have cramps that last for up to 3-4 days. Some even have until the period ends, and they're not able to go to school. They don't even know what to do about it. Is there also a program to deal with this really for people who are in this category?
Exactly, and that's why I said that we must come to a point that we understand that these are normal occurrences. And what we do is ensure that at the school level, we ensure that we create what we call atmosphere for a school-led clinic, where when these kind of things happen in the school, the girl child can now go to those places and get treatment. And if they are not able to deal with those, then they are referred to facilities close by. We want to ensure that the major issues for people to understand how this happens and how they need to navigate through this shame and embarrassment and this toga of silence that has been preached. Because usually they tell girls, no, you need to just, accommodate whatever you're feeling. You need to just keep quiet. Nobody needs to know. You don't need to embarrass yourself. So we must come to a point where we continue to give comprehensive education to these girls so that they understand that when these things occur, they need to go to places where they can go for help and to address those issues.
Let's look at Nigeria now. Do you think Nigeria is a period-friendly country?
Well, Nigeria is a very big country. We are so diverse. We are so complex. We are doing well, but I don't think we've reached, the right frame and in the right direction for us to be able to do that. We are saying every girl and woman has the right for them to be able to navigate through menstruation with dignity, with safety, and with comfort. In buses, in transport stations, we need to begin to ensure that we provide facilities for women to be able to deal with these issues when they come. I think the opportunities are there, and this is a call out to everyone. You can become a male champion, you can become a male advocate, just like you said. As a male, you have sisters, you have a mother, eventually you have a wife. We need to make sure that, we put in this system. Everybody needs to be in this together with the girls, with NGOs, with the government. There's something you can do. You can be an advocate, you can be a champion. You can form menstruation products banks everywhere. For anywhere people are going, they can easily, get to do this. I think the way we are going with the National Strategic Framework, we are now ensuring that there is a coordination structure under the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs. And we have what we call a technical working group, on menstruate and hygiene. And like I said, it is intersectoral. We are working with all the ministries. We are working with schools. We are working with out of schools. We are working with private people. We need to escalate the issue to the working place. We need to ensure that even when they do economic opportunities for women, they integrate these issues so that they have the right knowledge. And if they have the right knowledge, then they're able to navigate through this process without any hindrance.
All right. I would have loved to have more time to talk about this, because this is a very, very interesting issue, really. But time is not on our side. We have to go now. Thank you very much, Dr. Adelekan, for coming on the program. Aisha, we thank you too for being part of the program. We've been speaking with Aisha Mu'Azu, who is the Global Adolescent Girl Leader, UNICEF Nigeria. She's been joined by Dr. Babatunde Adelekan, who is the head of the Gender Unit of the United Nations Fund for Population Activities, UNFPA, looking at the World Menstrual Hygiene Day 2024.
All right, Aisha, thank you very much for all you do for the adolescent girls, and keep at it.
Thank you.